If someone tried to tell you that you need a fancy website to land a design job, they're probably trying to sell you something. Most likely their online portfolio course. Hi there, my name is Ryan, and over the years I've helped teams at Adobe, Webflow, and Amplitude hiring for their design team. And I've reviewed hundreds of online portfolios. Today I'm going to share what truly matters. It might be simpler than you think. First, I want to share a story. Sarah, not her real name, emailed me after she watched some of my early videos. She was frustrated after months of applying for jobs but not hearing back, not getting through to any interviews. Maybe the job market is just that bad, she thought. Sounds familiar? Here's the plot twist. She sent me her portfolio link, and when I click on the link, I quickly realized that her work was actually solid. Her portfolio website, that was the problem. So we are all familiar with that nagging feeling. You're unsure if your portfolio is good enough. We've all been there. As a result, we spend hours and hours working on your portfolio. But here is the truth. Hiring managers spend as little as 30 seconds on your portfolio to decide if you are worthy of moving to the next round. 30 seconds. And that is a lot of work for very, very little time. So if you watch my first video, you know every step in your interview is a funnel. Your online portfolio along with your resume and application is the first step. The most important thing for your online portfolio is time to impact. And there's twofold. One is your portfolio needs to be extremely easy to access. You don't want to waste precious time from the hiring manager. And secondly, you have to highlight your biggest strength really, really fast. So that two aspects essentially translate into the format of your portfolio and the content of your portfolio. So let's talk format first. That is the logistics and the physical form of your portfolio. And before we go any further, I want to talk about biggest myth. That is, you need a fancy website. And some LinkedIn influencer would actually go as far as saying, if you don't have a website, I am not hiring you. Which just blew my mind. It's such a biased view because to me, your work matters way more than what format your portfolio is in. Let's take my friend Jay DiMattillo, for example. He has worked at some of the most prestige design teams like Pinterest, Twitter, Canva, Google Ventures. And his portfolio is an ugly PDF. Just simple white background with minimum typography, black text, and some imagery. That's it. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how simple and minimalistic his portfolio is. It doesn't matter that his portfolio is a PDF, not a website. He let his work shine. And if you have great work and relevant experience, I don't think you need to worry too much about how good the packaging of your portfolio is. Most hiring managers would agree that it's your work that they're evaluating and not your website building ability. So think about that. If website is not your thing, that's fine. I think Figma Deck, Notion Page are all acceptable options. Once you decide what technology or platform you want to host your online portfolio on, I want you to think about all the ways you can make accessing your online portfolio as easy as possible. If you do use a PDF, I would make sure that I host it on an online hosting service like Google Drive or Dropbox with a public share link so people can access your PDF as if they are a website. And of course, Figma and Notion have good public sharing options. Once you have the public link, make sure to check it in the incognito browser window to mimic what hiring manager will see. So make sure your permission setting is set correctly and hyperlink everything in your resume so that it's simply one click away for a hiring manager to review your portfolio. So remember Sarah? I look at Sarah's site and guess what I see as my first screen? A password pop-up. So she decided to password protect her entire site. Big mistake. In growth, we scrutinizing every single click. We'll go through an onboarding flow and count clicks because we know every extra click means more drop-off. If you hit a big password window in the very beginning of your site, I don't know who you are, haven't seen anything from you, and the first thing I need to do is a password, that's a huge friction point, and I bet a lot of people drop off from that point. So if you are using a password for your NDA project, that is totally fine and acceptable. But you need to be extra careful in terms of where you want to place your password, and also choose maybe a simple, easy to spell password. I would leave the entire site public so people can see a little bit of what they'll get, and you are already making a first impression with the visuals of your website. Then for individual case studies, only password protect the ones under NDA. If a lot of them are under NDA, I would consider at least have something that's not password protected. And I would even think of ways maybe only protect a section of your work. Like you can have a description of the project, you can have an abstract illustration of the project, or even some UI work that's publicly available that you can share. So even if they didn't have the password or they didn't want to type in the password, they still walked away with a sense of what type of project you've worked on. So think about how you can protect as little as possible on your site. And I would also include my password everywhere, like in your application. And I will include it in my resume because sometimes the hiring manager don't see your full application. If you have email communication, make sure add it to your email. Put it in your email signature. Like everywhere you can put in a text, put in your password. Bold it, whatever you do, make it easy. Because the last thing you want to do is having your password be the reason why you're not getting job interviews. So that's the format, that's all the logistics. And let's move on to the fun part, the content. I would think of your online portfolio as a highlight reel or a movie trailer. Show just enough interesting bits about you and your work for someone to want to talk to you, to learn more. Don't share everything you've ever worked on. Don't share every single detail of every single project. It is not a laundry list of everything you've ever done. And if you do that, you'll just bore the hiring manager, and that's not going to help with your time to value.
From the interviewer's perspective, look, they are just having another meeting on their Friday. They are not prepared to listen to someone's case studies from top to bottom, every single small steps.
So just your greatest hits, your best work. I would only show about 3 to 6 projects. If you show less than that, it signifies you are less experienced you don't have a lot of variety of experience or just experience in general. And also don't show that many projects, just your best. I think 6 is more than enough. And then when you're selecting your 3 to 6 projects, I want you to really think about what you're good at. What's your unfair advantage? What's your career capital? And what projects can support that? If you are high visual, I want you to show the most stunning visual design ever. And if you're great at user research and UX, I want to look for a project that has complex user flows and edge cases where you can talk about that. You can show complex screen flows to support your own narrative that way. If you think about your selections this way, it will help you figure out what you need to show more of in your portfolio as a whole. For example, if you are really great at visuals, but work for an environment that has an outdated design system or a very strict design system that you can't showcase all the cool things and effect that you can do, consider adding more passion projects or a project where you can actually have more creative freedom to showcase what you can accomplish. And one call out, if you have very, very small projects, and they're so small that it doesn't really say much as a standalone project, consider group multiple of them together as one case study in a cohesive theme. It could be different iterations on the same thing or multiple bets to tackle the same problems. This is very useful for growth designers where a lot of your A/B tests are just really small single variant change. So you could group a few together and talk about how they contribute to your vision to make it a meaty case study and not just small tests. Start with your best, absolutely best work as your first project. When I used to have an online website, I tracked analytics on all my pages. And I made the mistake of aligning my project in the chronological order. So that means my best project is my last project. And guess what? My first project is what got disproportionately more clicks and views than any other project. And my best project get the least amount of view. So that was a huge opportunity cost for me. Don't make the same mistake. People tend to click into your first case study, so make that your best thing. Each of these 3 to 6 projects should have the following information within them. 1 is the context of the project. Very important. What is this project? What problem are you solving? How do you know this is a problem and what business benefit this would produce and what user pain points that you're solving? So you need to showcase that you thought about this problem and not just a feature factory producing features. Talk about why and the context of this project. Secondly, you need to showcase what you're best at. So if your best thing is user research, by all means showcase your journey map you've built. If you are great at interaction and micro animations, include those animations. The angle of how you showcase this project has to align with your own individual strength. And lastly, you need to talk about the impact of this project. A good project has long, everlasting impact, and you need to be able to say that. Even if you don't have hard data to show these things, you can talk about impact in so many different ways, like you set a precedence of this design system pattern, what cross-functional team that you benefited, you unlocked new marketing opportunities, or you learned this one more thing about your users. So talk about impact. And if you don't have anything to talk about what you personally have learned from this project. So context, solution in a way to support your strength, conclusion, and impact. And that's the minimum requirement of each case study. And now I want to stop and talk about the elephant in the room, which is the visuals of your portfolio itself. Your portfolio project itself is a design project. And you need to showcase that you have enough design ability and taste to produce a visually appealing online portfolio. So it doesn't have to be flashy or unique. It just have to be thoughtful. I've seen websites where they're so cool that I wanted to hire the person on the spot. I've also seen portfolio websites that are so messy that I don't want to read anything and I just want to reject this person right away. So if visuals is not your thing, you can keep it very minimum. Just make sure that you pick a medium and platform for your portfolio that you can actually handle. It shouldn't be a detractor, because if you have a messy portfolio with glaring UX issues or typography, color contrast, or alignment issues, I would start questioning if you have the best taste or skill level at that point. So that's all the tips I have for your online portfolio. Now let me go to my computer and show you some of the good examples that I found. Now let's look at the first portfolio example. And this is the portfolio of Yamalas. Right off the bat, this portfolio makes a really strong impression with its visually striking design. The first thing that catches your eye is the beautiful stack of typography. It's very unique. You will see this double scrolling interaction. It's very smooth, it's innovative, and it sets the tone for what type of designer they are. So now let's take a look at the right-hand side. These are her past experiences and projects. As you scroll and hover over each item, a full-on prototype will appear with animations. So it showcases a fully functioning prototype. There's no lengthy explanations, there's no background and iterations. This approach may not work for everyone, for sure, especially UX professionals, while storytelling and processes are crucial. But it might work in this case because, as we can see, they are a product design and dev. So this portfolio is showing 100% that. First of all, their visual ability is high because the stunning visual design and lots of good development ability showcased in these interactive hover states and the prototypes. This is highly effective for Yamala because it demonstrates their ability to design, their ability and visual aesthetics, and as well as their technical expertise to bring this idea to life. So this is a great example of how your portfolio can be more than just a collection of work. It itself becomes a demonstration and reflection of your skill set and creativity. Now let's take a look at Corey Moen's portfolio. While Yamala's portfolio was bold and unconventional, Corey's portfolio is a perfect example of a more traditional approach, but done right. Corey's strength is branding at Webflow development, and as you can see, they've made that crystal clear throughout their portfolio. Everything about this site feels intentional, accessible, and really appropriate for his experience level. A lot of subtle interactions that just showcase their attention to detail and highlights their strength. Let's take a look at their case study format. Inside each project, Corey introduces a little bit of context in terms of the brief, the goals, and the challenges. And from there, they dive into the details, showcasing exactly what they've considered in their design process. So here's some branding and a lot of visuals of work in progress. So this level of details not only highlight their skills, but also build trust with potential clients or employers. I'd say this is a great reference for most designers out there. It proves that you don't really need to reinvent the wheel to create an effective portfolio, but focusing on clear visuals and thoughtful case studies and showcase the strengths you have. Okay, now let's talk about Mitchell Clemens' portfolio. This is a standout example for design leaders. The most striking part of Mitchell's portfolio is how they highlighted their career impact. It's front and center, make it clear what kind of results they've driven throughout their career. For senior designers and design leaders, as you advance in your career, your impact becomes your story. So showcasing it like this not only communicate your seniority, but also significantly boost your chance of getting noticed and interviewed. So another brilliant move that Mitchell included in their portfolio is the summary of each project. Before you even click into a case study and you're given a snapshot of the work, they included an illustration and headline, a short description, and even project KPIs. So before diving into the details, you already have a sense of the project's scope and success. It's concise and incredibly effective. So in the case studies, Mitchell actually follows a pretty traditional story arc for any product design and UX projects. It starts with the background and context of the project, including some sort of video walkthrough, mapped out the user journey. But what really sets this apart is they have included a strategy section. This is not normally contained in a typical product design case study. And in here, they explicitly call out their thinking and contributions to the strategy, and that's an essential requirement for design leaders. So this is not just about what's shipped, it's about the critical decisions and strategic impact behind the work. That's a huge competence indicator. And this portfolio is a masterclass in how to showcase the leadership qualities for senior roles. It communicates impact, strategic thinking, and the ability to deliver outcome while maintain a clean and professional design. So those are some of the standout portfolio examples that I have found, and I hope you got some inspirations on how you want to approach your online portfolio. And I just want to emphasize it again that even though your online portfolio is a design project on its own, it doesn't have to be elaborative. I'd rather you spending some more time to improve your actual content of your work. If you don't have enough work experience, go to Hackathon and do passion projects to beef up your portfolio. I think that will help you get way more interviews than overly optimizing what you currently have. And if you find you just don't get interviews and your portfolio doesn't have glaring issues, and I think chances are that your work experience and your work itself are not there yet. It is a very harsh truth. I'd rather you spend more time to actually get good at design and actually try to get the type of experiences that you need for the type of role that you want instead of over optimizing on your online portfolio. Set a timer for 30 seconds. Would you hire yourself? Is your online portfolio doing yourself justice? If not, go back and change it. If you're unsure and have questions, don't worry. Leave a comment below and I read every single one. I'll see you in the next episode.